Good evening and welcome to Let's Start Access, a social media program produced and presented by the UWI Global Campus, opening doors to life-changing learning. I'm your host, Cherise Glasgow. Thank you for joining us from wherever you are on the World Wide Web. Today, we speak to some of our 2024 graduates of the UWI Global Campus, and they represent a few of our global campus countries. We will hear their stories and their experiences of studying with our campus. Our very special guests today are Dr. Wendy Bino from St. Vincent and the Grenadines and Dr. Carlos Julien from Trinidad and Tobago. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Let's Start Access. It's a pleasure to have you here with us this evening. We are going to let you introduce yourselves and share a little bit about who you are and what you studied at the UWI Global Campus. Dr. Bino, are you speaking?
Good evening to viewers of this program, Let's Talk Access. I am Wendy Bino. I am from St. Vincent and the Grenadines. I have been an educator for the past 32 years, and I studied with the UWI Global Campus, of course.
Great.
Hi guys, good afternoon viewers. I am Carlos Julien from Trinidad and Tobago. I studied with the Open Campus. I did my Doctor of Education TLET on Instructional Technology. I am actually not a full-time educator. I am a systems engineer full-time, and I teach part-time presently.
Awesome. So we are looking forward to this very engaging conversation. I hope two of you aren't shy. But just in case you are, we'll have a little icebreaker before we divulge into your journey and your background and what your future plans look like, and as well as some other topics. So our icebreaker, I have questions from 1 to 20. I'm going to ask each of you to select a number and you will answer that question. Dr. Bino, you want to go first?
I am allowed Carlos to go first.
No problem about, okay. Six.
Pardon?
Six.
6? Okay, great. So 6. If you could take one course that isn't offered at the global campus, what would it be? So that will definitely not be a course that you did in your program. What would it be and why?
I would pick seismology. I have a love of geography, and I'm fascinated by volcanoes and earthquakes and so on. And that would be my pick. Unfortunately, the Open Campus doesn't offer that, of course, but that would be my pick.
Okay, so you're a seismic person.
Yes.
Interesting. Dr. Bino, your turn.
I will choose number 10.
Number 10. What was the most unusual place you ever joined an online class from?
Let me see, a shelter during last super eruption.
Okay, wow.
Yes.
You mean you had to get that study in?
I did, yes.
Or the other. That is very commendable.
Thank you.
So let's get into the program now. Why did you choose to study at the global campus? Why did you choose our campus? And why did you choose what you studied to study?
For me, pursuing a doctorate with UWI Global Campus allowed me to continue working full-time and also supporting my family. The flexibility for me was crucial.
Dr. Bino, we aren't hearing you. You cut off.
Sorry, yes. So I was saying, pursuing my doctorate with the UWI Global Campus allowed me to continue working full-time and also to support my family. The flexibility was crucial for me, even though it required excellent time management and also self-discipline. I am an early sleeper, so usually I'm asleep by 7 or 8 p.m. So I had to do my readings and assignments immediately after work or until about 8 p.m. or so, and also on weekends. So I pursued the doctorate of education in teaching and learning with emerging technologies, curriculum quality.
We definitely want to go deeper. We'll get back to that though. How did you manage to get all that workload done before you got to bed so early? But we'll go to Dr. Julian and he will tell us why he chose what he chose to study and why he chose our camp.
So I was interested in I did part-time teaching before, and I wanted to further educate my education. And at the time, the degree I saw the ad on the Global Campus website, and it's a UWI degree, so I wanted to stick with UWI. UWI degrees are quite marketable, and I saw it, and the reason why I chose this particular program because there were no exams, everything was full coursework, and it was offered fully online, which fit in with my work schedule because working as a systems engineer during the day, sometimes you have late hours, and having to sit in class after working those late hours, I would usually be asleep. Like when I was doing my master's, I would fall asleep within the first 15 minutes of the class. I would be asleep in class. Not to say that I didn't fall asleep in some of my open campus classes, but they couldn't see me because it's online, the camera wasn't on. But like Dr. Bino said, it's really getting the assignments done and getting everything done. And the online environment really helped you. You could join from anywhere, even in a shelter, as Dr. Bino mentioned. I would usually join sometimes I'm in the car coming home or in the bedroom or something like that. So yes.
Awesome. So we have a third graduate here who's joining us, and her name is Dr. Nilma Jones, and she's joining from the beautiful island of Belize. Dr. Jones, you can introduce yourself, tell us a bit about yourself, what you studied at the UWA Global Campus, and where you studied.
Good evening. I'm sorry that I joined in late. I was using my
That's
phone
okay.
and then I got kicked out. You said you want me to introduce myself?
Yeah, just give us a bit about yourself, what you studied, and where you studied it.
Okay, I am Melmam Jones. I studied the educational leadership, higher education. I chose educational leadership, higher education, because my intention was after retiring from the public service, I could be working with the University of Belize. In addition to that, I had somewhat spent a majority of my life experience in the elementary and secondary level. I was adjunct lecturer from here and there at the university level, but I decided that I will prepare myself in higher education because I can contribute even after I am finished with the public service.
Okay. So tell us, this is a question for the panel. What does access means to you? One of our AAA pillars is access. What does access mean to you? And I realize it would have come out in some of your earlier sentences, in some of your earlier conversations, but just summarize, what does access mean to each of you?
Well, for me, it refers to the opportunity for all individuals to obtain a quality education, regardless of their background, their abilities, their circumstances, or where they are.
I want to echo that statement. You can access learning from anywhere. I remember in my cohort, we had a colleague from India.
Wow.
And when we would be finishing class, he would not be going to work. We would finish class sometimes after 10 at night. And he would tell us, hey, guys, I'm not going to work. So yes, access means anywhere in the world. And that's the beauty of Global Campus.
Yes.
Anybody in the world can come sign on online and access it.
For me, access means a lot because at the time I was enrolled in this particular program, it was almost like the walls of universities were turning to be ancient because of the COVID pandemic that came upon us. And even during that time when we were in that panic stage and anxiety, we still had access to our university. And it was, for me, one of the most critical time. I don't know if I should say it's coincidental or not, but I think the University of the West Indies was just timely in terms of this online global campus approach to education. And it was a great eye-opener to be able to get quality education through this medium.
Well said. And as you all know, that flexibility and that global access is something, some things that we at the Global Campus really push and really want to get out to anyone who wants to have that quality education. As Dr. Julianne would have said earlier, a university UE education level, you can access it at anywhere in the world. And I would just want to take this time to remind those who are watching this very knowledgeable panel on our YouTube platform that they too can become a UWI Global Campus graduate. They can apply for our semester, which starts in September 2025. So you have until the end of the month, Monday, June 30th. If you want to apply for your doctoral programs, you have until Friday, July 25th to apply for our postgraduate programs and Thursday, July 31st to apply for our undergraduate programs, all beginning in September 2025. You can log on to our website at global.ue.edu/apply. That is global.ue.edu/apply. And who knows, in the next few years, you too might be here telling us about your wonderful and maybe challenging experience. So tell us, what was one thing about the Global Campus experience that might have surprised you as a new student?
For me, studying online was sometimes it felt isolated because you can't really see anyone, especially during the dissertation phase, sorry. So, it was important that I form partnerships with other fellow scholars. And so that helped a whole lot.
So what would have surprised me about the open campus experience was that at the time with cohort one, 90% of my lecturers were abroad. They were from outside the Caribbean. Some in Canada, some in England. And the thing is that these are the same lecturers that you would get if you traveled abroad. And I didn't have to travel anywhere. I got everything from home, from comfort of my home, online. So that
Right
was
at your
a little surprising
fingertips.
for me. Yeah.
Right at your fingertips.
Right at your fingertips, exactly
Yeah.
that. And it's the same quality education that you get abroad. And you don't have to leave your country. You get it from home and you get a quality degree. So the caliber of the lecturers, they were excellent. So that was, well, not really surprising, but that was an eye-opener for me.
before Dr. Jones answer, I just want to tap onto something you said, Dr. Julian. Do you think that that is a common misconception among your peers or among our Caribbean people that the level of our educational system at the global campus or the UE might not be on par with worldwide, even though we are top ranking?
I think, yes, that is the perception, but it's only when you make the journey and you get that piece of paper and you apply for jobs abroad. I have applied for jobs abroad before, and the degree is recognized. You may find some of your colleagues from the Caribbean are working abroad, and they see that crest on your certificate and they call you up or they send you an email. Hey, I know you. You know, what did you study? What country are you from? And you make linkages with Caribbean people from all over the world. So yes, and that perception needs to be shattered, and we shatter that tonight. It's a quality degree.
Yes. What about you, Dr. Jones? What was one thing that surprised you about studying with the UWA Global Camp?
Was it a surprise? Yes, I think it was, because when you're behind a screen or you're doing online, it's unorthodox, like Dr. Wendy said just now. Sometimes you would have want that personal interaction. However, because we had so many medium, and at the same time, the university also was giving us courses on technology and the use of technology. So it was twofold in the sense that you are studying online, but you are also gaining skills and content to help you navigate the entire platform that we were using. So like Dr. Carl S. Julian said just a while ago, you still get to meet so many of our colleagues are from the Caribbean, and our professors were from all over the world, and you still built a sort of bonding and social interaction, and we became friends even after the degree was completed. I still have a couple. We kept our WhatsApp group still open. When there's a hurricane or anything like that, we shout out for each other to see if everybody's safe and so forth. So this opportunity, even though we're not sitting in a classroom per se, seeing each other daily, it still gives us a lot of opportunity for the interaction that is needed.
So tapping on from what you said to go into the next question, can you give us, I was going to ask, how did you all cope with the technology and the online studies, and what tools or resources you would have used to help you? So Dr. Jones, let's continue on with you since you broached the subject of technology. How did you cope in a holistic manner, and were there any tools, like I know people use different organizational tools to keep on track, that you would have used to assist you throughout this journey?
Well, the UWE platform itself offered a lot. It's just a matter of you navigating and understanding it. One of the key things, though, is how to organize yourself in terms of time management, because you do know that you have to upload your assignment before 12 midnight at a certain time, a date if the professor has not given you an extension or have not opened the platform for you to continue on. But in terms of other tools, we have gained a lot in 2 courses that we completed. In fact, I think one of our professors died in the process when we were in that moment. But we have gained a lot of useful tools in those 2 courses that also we could have implemented and integrated into our work. I think the other 2 people may be able to help me
With some of the names, yes. Yes, I'm sure they'll be able
some
to
of the other
elaborate.
tools. Yes.
Yes, for us, we had to learn to navigate the learning exchange, and at different times, you know, it will look different to you because work was being constantly done to upgrade the platform and make it more user friendly or student friendly. We did a lot of sandbox and use ePortfolio. So we had to do lots of stuff in ePortfolio and use the sandbox to create different assignments and to share with other colleagues for review, for peer review and stuff like that. The synchronous and the synchronous classes, allowed us to study on our own schedule. So even if we had attended classes and they were happening, we were still able to access the information, access the recordings once classes were finished. So we could go back if we missed something or if we fell asleep, which happened a lot of times for me during class, or we can, so we access the recordings that was always there. And that made life a whole lot easier for us. You had the facilitator student exchange where our course instructors shared information weekly or during the week. So that made life easier for us.
An interesting,
yeah.
oh, sorry.
That's fine. That's fine. Dr. Jonesy, go ahead.
I was saying an interesting part of it for us was that that whole Google Doc, Google Meet, everything in Google was a useful tool outside of the platform that we use. So if interestingly too, we had to do a lot of cooperative learning. And we were able to accomplish those using some of these same tools, like that whole Google family of tools. That was one that we found very useful.
And those are tools that you can use even after your degree has finished. You can use to be more productive in your workplace and in your personal life as well.
Monkey survey. I mean, there are so many things there that we were able to capture.
Okay. What about you, Dr. Julian?
So my technology time was a little bit easier. Sorry to toot my own horn. My first 2 degrees from UE were in computer science. My bachelor's and my master's. So when I was being interviewed before being accepted to the program, they swayed me towards the instructional technology, and it happened. So I found myself helping other colleagues and so on. And the Gmail, as Dr. Jones mentioned, was fantastic. We did quite a lot of presentations. We learned to do videos, video editing. There was screencast-o-matic. There was a lot of different tools we used to make cartoon videos and all sorts of things to present your material. Because almost every week or every 2 weeks, you have something to present, either in group or in a paper or something like that. So, and you had to learn to navigate time because your lecturer may be in a different time zone, and the due date, you may think where the due date is EC time and everybody's carrying EC time, but no, it doesn't work like that. And you pay attention to the learning exchange on what time is actually posted, because you could easily miss your assignment deadline. So I just want to put that out there. I see my other colleagues smiling because they may have missed a deadline or two. So yes.
But you did get a comprehensive learning experience. And as someone who, I would say, you've admitted that you're a technology man and you did instructional design in terms of that focus on your degree, how has that helped you now in your current role, or how will that help you in your future role? What aspect of that program do you think you will be able to hit the ground running with, the practicality of your program?
So while I was doing the doctorate, COVID happened, and I actually got a part-time job teaching online. So I was using the degree already, and I didn't graduate yet, and I was already using the degree. And after I graduated, I got a part-time lecturing job position, and they offered me an online class, and they were like, "Can you handle this online class?" And I was like, "Sure, no problem." And you learn the skills about keeping students engaged, about doing different types of materials to present to the students, the PowerPoints, whether it's Google Docs, whatever you're doing with the students, and how to set up the assignments, how to navigate the learning exchange. Now, the learning exchange with the Open Campus it was at that point in time, as Dr. Bino mentioned, they were doing a lot of changes. So that when I joined this other institution and they were making changes in the learning exchange, and I was used to it. And I also teach face-to-face as well. And again, from the degree, they taught us how to interact with students, how to keep students engaged face-to-face. So you see them nodding sometimes in the class and keeping them sleeping. So you know to change pace a little bit, or to show a video, or to do an icebreaker, things like that. So the degree has come in very handy. So far I have been using almost everything that I've learned.
Okay, awesome. That is very good. What about you, ladies?
So just like Dr. Julian, I do online courses, deliver online courses with University of West Indies Global Campus. So all those tools, they are an asset to what I do in delivering these courses. The degree itself in curriculum quality, that has made me develop an understanding for how emerging technologies can truly enhance curriculum quality and also the delivery of these courses. And I'm passionate about finding ways to make teaching more effective and engaging. So I would try, different things, especially for diverse learners who have different learning needs and different learning styles. Because during our the delivery of the degree, the doctoral degree, we did some instructional design, we did universal design for learning. So now I'm a podcast boss, all of those tools help in my interaction with my students, and sort of also help to guide them on how they can become better teachers, because I teach the education and early childhood course.
I often post about the fact that I did my doctoral degree in a timely manner. I could have done it long before, but I think nothing comes before the time, because when I did it was, as I said, COVID came around at the same time, and everything had to go online, and that stimulated me to be a little bit more appreciative of information technology and utilizing it, because prior to then it was just minimal. You were using it but not so much, and then it gives me the opportunity to learn all the other mediums like Zoom and all the different types of technology platforms that can be used for learning. It also, like Dr. Wendy said just now, you have to find ways to be creative. I used it to do at the Galen University from my country, and for students not to be bored behind the screen and so forth, we have to find different learning styles and approaches to get them to be interactive with the material and with me as the lecturer to make the lesson. So it's a new wave. It's a new not for maybe our age group, we might say we learn in a classroom sitting 4 times. So, but this generation after me, I think it's generation Alpha or something to that. Yeah, I think they will be able to appreciate the use of access online education.
It's so refreshing, so good to hear you all speaking about how practical and how technology-based that your degrees were. Because normally when persons speak about studying, it's like, oh, I'm reading for a degree and it's so theoretical. But I'm so happy to hear that you were able to learn so many different technological apps and platforms, and were able to hit the ground running in your respective fields of work. What do you say to that?
So I just want to stick a little pin. We are talking about technology and it's sounding very easy, but the workload was massive.
Well, we want you to tell us the challenges, if any
Yes.
challenges you had.
Yes. So I had, most people don't know that I almost quit the program. I started the program in January 2019. I got married in June 2019. And my daughter came along just before COVID,
Wow.
in 2020, January 2020. So I was thinking, let me put this aside. Let me stop this and concentrate on my family. And my wife threatened me, and she said no. And I'm thankful that I listened to her. And here I am now. But the workload is a lot. People have this perception that it's online, it's easy. No, it's not. It's actually harder online because they realize that you don't have to go home, you don't have to travel home, you're home already. So that half an hour or 1 hour you take to get home, let me give you something else to do. And the assignments are coming like rapid fire. Every other week there was something to submit, and you couldn't miss a deadline because that would mean that your grades will fall back, your grades will go down. You may not pass the course. So you have to keep up with that, and that helped us to become with time management. So you have to manage your life, everything else going on in your life, and you have to manage your assignments. And for me, it's how I challenge now is that sometimes I still don't sleep properly. I jump up sometimes wondering if I have something to submit. I don't.
Haven't got her back into the groove.
Yes, you have to. Yes, but now that I'm teaching part time, I'm still in the group. So I'm setting assignments, correcting, marking scripts. So yes, it's still there. All right. I don't know if Dr. Bino and Dr. Jones have the same problem with.
Well, for me, it was really challenging, especially in the beginning, because I started in September 2019. And honestly, the first 2 semesters were extremely difficult for me because I had to juggle work. I was also president of the teachers union, and being a president of a union is very, very demanding. So many days were taken up with meetings and dealing with other union matters. You have family, you still have your household chores that you need to do. So it was a real challenge to stay on top of everything. So and then it's 5 years. So 5 years is not 5 days. So loads of things happened. For me, one of the hardest things was staying motivated throughout, because it's just you really and your research and your assignments, as Dr. Carlos said. You can't miss a date. Well, you can if you ask for if you ask for a little extension, maybe if you're sick or something. And like how we had the issue with last friend, I was a shelter manager. So we had all of those issues. Life was really life in. So I lost my oldest sister. And so that was really difficult for me during the period as well. We had to deal with the COVID-19 pandemic. And I was at the school at the time, deputy principal, and responsible for the online platform that we had to migrate to. So we had to get all 600 students online so that they can continue their learning from home because, you couldn't go to school. And then during that period as well, we had the eruption of La Soufre, and I was shelter manager. So there were lots of challenges that we had to navigate during this period. And I'm sure, these challenges are not just unique to me, and everybody would have had their challenges and had to have overcome them to at least get to the end of this degree.
So then, Dr. Bino, what kept you going? What was your why? Because I know St. Vincent had a lot of, I don't want to say issues, but quote unquote events during the period that you would have been studying. How did you get over those events?
Well, I had to stay focused. I knew what I wanted, and for me, once I started it, I knew I had to end it. So even days when I felt like giving up, throwing the towel, I was like, I would probably go and watch a movie, especially when I was stressed. I love Christmas, so I would watch a Christmas movie, and that would probably bring me back. Christmas movie any time of the year.
Yes, I agree
So
with you.
that was my distressor. When the assignments were coming fast and furious, the days when I was getting writer's block, I would just go to my Christmas movie. And that helped a lot, chatting with other colleagues at work who will help to encourage you, family members who will encourage you and say, oh, you can't give up now, and so on. They were like my shining light, my motivating factor, and so on.
Awesome. What about you, Dr. Jones? How did you cope with the challenges that presented themselves during your studies?
Well, like everything else, I was working, attending school, and you have your family, you have other obligations. So it was a matter of trying to recognize what are your spiritual needs during that process. And I'm not speaking spiritual need in a religious sense, but there were times when you had to stop, you had to go out in nature, drive away from it for a few minutes or for a few hours, then get back to it. And then there was also the fact that you had to neglect your significant others because it was hours and hours around the computer trying to meet deadlines. I think one of the things I would recommend though is that when I began, I tried to keep up with 3 courses per semester, and that along with your work is not recommended at all. It would be smarter if you try to manage how many courses you would do depending on your workload and your lifestyle and what you have. And I think I got burnt out on the end, especially when I had to do correction to my thesis, because I pushed like 3 courses per every semester that we had. And then I roll on through summer. I didn't take any summer break, and I would do 2 in summer, pushing to try and complete, within a certain time. And then I lost my mother during the time, and that was like something that pushed me back. But at the same time, it was a motivation because she was so proud and was looking forward to being at my graduation, or to know that I will be graduating. And so that gave me additional thing to an additional intrinsic motivation to continue push on and to complete. And I had friends and other family member who looked up and were awaiting this accomplishment even more than I do. So it's a matter of finding a balance between your spiritual need, not neglecting your significant others, and to ensure that you in terms of health wise, stop, go take a walk, a break from the work, that kind of thing is very necessary, especially when you're doing this degree.
So it definitely was a climb for all 3 of you. And condolences on your loss, Dr. Baino and Dr. Jones, as well as congratulations to Dr. Julian on his marriage and birth of his child. Persons sometimes just see the end, but they don't really see sometimes what you have to go through and the sacrifices you have to make and the losses you have to overcome to get to where you got to. And it's good to hear that prospective students who are watching or students who are already enrolled, they can be able to hear about your journey and get this realistic approach of what really happens while you're studying. And I just want to go to our YouTube page and read some of the comments. I see Dr. Sam, Dr. Cleveland Sam there, my mentor. He's there cheering us on. And we also have Jessica Robinson. She's cheering on Dr. Bino and a Lyle Brown. He's congratulating all three of you on your momentous achievement. And I want to take this time to encourage those who are watching who may want to study with us that applications are still open for September 2025. So if you are inspired, if you like what you've heard so far and you want to study with us, please visit us at global.uwi.edu/apply and take the next steps towards your educational journey. Can you believe we have 20 more minutes in our program and I still have so much that I want to ask you all? So let me just keep the ball rolling and ask you, how was it when you had to defend your thesis? I was only blessed to see Dr. Bino's defense. I didn't get to see Dr. Julian's or Dr. Jones. And I want to know if she was nervous. How was it? I thought it was well received. And just how was that defense when you had to go in front of that panel to defend what you have studied for those 5 years?
I think that was dependent on the support of your supervisor while you were preparing. And as for me, I love research. So I was a bit comfortable with it because of my passion for research. The support of your supervisor and those around you was very important. But at the same time, there is the anxiety of, am I meeting our requirements? Will I be able to impress the panel? That sort of thing was, going on. All you need to do, though, is prepare yourself, plan, prepare, and you go over it, even if it means speaking to yourself or speaking to an audience outside before you do the preparation. And those people who know about research can question certain things. It's everything is possible.
Yeah.
Well, for me, I had some challenges again with research supervisor because I had the first one and, he was there for me, professional hand holding. And the university thought that I needed someone more aligned to what I was doing for my dissertation. So I was given another research supervisor, unfortunately. She died during in a short space of time, probably within a month of us meeting each other, or 2 weeks or something like that. And so that was a blow for me because she had a really great impact on me. And so the university took a little while in finding another research supervisor for me. And thankfully, she was really understanding. She was a great tower of support and strength for me. She held my hand right to the very end. And defending their thesis or preparing to defend the thesis could be a mixture of emotions. It could be nerve-wracking. It could be empowering because, hey, this is it, and ultimately rewarding. So for that, preparation was really the key. It is your work. So you present your work, you did your research, and nobody knows this more than you. So that was something that I had at the back of my head. This is my work. I have spent years doing this from chapter 1 right up to chapter 5. And so you're doing the background to the study, the literature review. So nobody knows this better than I do. Not my research supervisor, not my external or internal examiner or even the audience know this work as much as I do. So it was like preparing, you had the templates on how you're going to present this. And so you had to prepare well. In presenting, you had to summarize your findings because this was 5 chapters into a half-hour presentation. So you had to do your findings, the significance, and you had to do these clearly and concisely. And then the toughest part, answering the questions because you never know what questions you're going to get.
True. Yeah.
So the examiners, they could be challenging, they could be probing questions, not necessarily to catch you off guard, but to see how well you know your work and your research, and to ensure that you have a deep understanding of the topic that you chose. And following that, it wasn't over yet. You still have to go and do corrections before the university can say, yes, this is okay to be a part of our library. So, it wasn't just a walk in the park. It was a lot of work.
For me, I saw the defense as a rite of passage. Having seen a lot of, I've attended a lot of doctoral defenses at the University of West Indies St. Augustine campus. So I knew what to expect. But still, as Dr. Bino mentioned, the anxiety takes over sometimes when you are presenting there before an audience. And of course, our defense was online. So you're in front of a camera, you're looking at, you don't know how many people are looking on at you. And then you start to sweat, you start to shake, and all these sorts of things go happen. But in the end, it is your research. You did it. So if you didn't do it, you'll be nervous. You'll be extremely nervous if you didn't do it, but you did it. And no matter how much you prepare, there will always be that question from the external or internal examiner that will trip you a little bit, but that is part of it. You are applying to be part of a community, a special community, the top 1% in the world. And if you can't defend what you wrote, what you did, your research, well, you don't really belong in the community then. But I think you have to look at it as a conversation like what we're having here. If you go to the defense thinking, oh, it's an exam, and well, you're going to worry, you're going to get nervous, but you're going and it's a conversation. And the conversation, at the end of the conversation, unfortunately, you know whether you pass or fail. I mean, they'll come out and tell you, hey, you pass, and really. But you get that feeling, you see the smiles, you get the reactions, and you get the congratulations from the audience. So you know and you feel relief and you take that breath, right? But honestly, I don't remember much of what happened in my defense. I would love to see the video though. People told me I did all sorts of things. I almost cried at the end, but the crying at the end I can understand because it's 5 years of work that has now culminated.
Yeah.
And you're finished. You can breathe. You get back to your life. But then there are corrections, of course. Yes, but I was actually looking forward to it. Believe it or not, the defense, what was scariest for me was the ethics approval. Getting ethics approval to begin doing the research, that was nerve-wracking for me. So that was my bit of experience.
It sounds like a very rewarding but overwhelming journey, if those are the right words. If I can use those words to describe to summarize what you all would have been saying this evening. And I can only imagine, how do you feel now? I know some persons. Pardon?
I was saying I would like to add to that, in that you have to develop a kind of Lone Ranger mentality when it comes to writing your work, because not a lot of people surround you or that are around you. Well, this is my personal experience, are versed or are passionate about research. So when you are doing it, you have to acquire a Lone Ranger mentality to stick to it, writing all those 5 chapters and completing it to the best that you can complete it, even doing the correction part. Not a lot of people are very much there for you. It's a Lone Ranger mentality that you have to develop to complete it.
So from that question, as we go to wrap up, I'm going to ask each of you, persons will be listening to us live on YouTube. We will be posting on our Facebook channel, and we will also have this recording so that persons who may be interested in studying will have this video to view and to make a decision. So based on the beginning of your academic journey right through to the end, what advice would you give to prospective students?
Well, I would definitely recommend UWI Global Campus, especially for working professionals, because and working on BC professionals, because it offers a flexible learning environment that suits them, or that suited me. You study on your own, you're an independent learner basically, and it makes it easier for you to balance work, family, and school. So you can log in from anywhere and you don't have to go on campus. The support from the course instructors and the research supervisor, that for me was a big plus. They were understanding, they were approachable, they were accessible. That helped me a lot during challenging times. Also, one of the key things for me is that I did not have all of the money to pay for my doctoral degree. And so it meant that when I started, I just saw the first step. I didn't see the entire staircase. But one of the good things for me is that the UWI Global Campus has a convenient payment plan. And that made managing the financial side much easier. So I didn't have to take a student loan because I could go and, pay something every month. And that worked for me. Also, being a part of a diverse regional community of learners, that added value. I got to meet many people from across the region who were there supporting, whether through WhatsApp chat, we're still in touch. So you make lifelong friendships, lifelong and lasting friendships. You get to connect with people from different backgrounds, and this also helps to broaden your perspective.
Awesome.
So for me, in terms of wrapping up, yes, Global Campus. Yes, I echo Dr. Bino's statements. Studying online is fantastic. You don't have to hustle to class. The downside though is if COVID happens again, your classes will continue. Your classes are not going to stop. Hurricane, earthquake, your classes will continue. Your assignment deadline date may be extended. So that's the nice thing about the Global Campus. They understand that your island may be under a hurricane watch. You might be under tsunami watch or something like that, and you will get an extension for that particular assignment. They understand. And you meet people from all over the world. When something is happening in a Caribbean island now, I can WhatsApp and say what's happening, and I will get either live video or pictures from that island at real time.
Yeah.
But what I want to say to someone thinking about doing this, it is a commitment, a 5-year commitment, and you need to have that support, that family support, the support of your friends, and you will have the support of the Global Campus, definitely. And it is not impossible. If I did it, anybody could do it. Right? So I want to tell you, take that first step. Don't just tip it too in the water, jump in. Right? The Global Campus will take care of you, will take care of the rest. Okay, so
Well said.
jump in.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, I think my other two colleagues had said a lot about online education. It's a lot of flexibility, you have accessibility, you have a wide range of course options that you could play around with compared to the traditional method. It allows us to learn as we work and play in our own little space at our own pace. And it also, for me, the most valuable part of it is that it can help us to develop valuable digital skills. And it facilitates that global networking because like we all mentioned, that we have met people all over the Caribbean. We have met people, or specifically our professors from all over the world. So you build professional collegiality and connections globally. And that is something that I sincerely appreciate.
Awesome. And let me just take this time to remind those who are watching that you can be like our 3 graduates here. Applications remain open for all programs for the semester starting in September 2025. So that is our doctoral program. Sorry, you have until Monday, June the 30th. That is the end of the month to apply for our doctoral programs. For our postgraduate programs, you have until next month, Friday, July the 25th to apply. And then for our undergraduate programs, you have until Thursday, July 31st to apply to do your bachelor's and other undergraduate programs. So you can log on to our website at global.ue.edu/apply. That is global.ue.forward/apply, and you will be given instructions there on your application process. And we just want to show appreciation to our panelists for all the gems they dropped tonight. And those who are able to see us live can view our recording. This is firsthand experience you are getting here from persons who have walked the walk and who have now been rewarded with that degree, with that title, Doctor in Education. So I want to thank you all who are watching us online for joining us today and for making the program a success. A special thanks, as I said before, to our panelists. Just to remind you who they were, we have Dr. Nilma Jones from Belize, Dr. Wendy Bino from St. Vincent and the Grenadines, and Dr. Carlos Julian from Trinidad and Tobago. On behalf of all of us here at the UWI Global Campus, we wish the 3 of you every continued success as you go forward in your careers and even in additional research and study, whatever you choose to put your hand to. I hope that you will be blessed and that you will do many great things as a Pelican. We also want to thank our Patrick Johnson and Marcia Reed for handling all the technical matters, as well as any questions or queries we would have had on our social media platform. In today's discussion, we've shown how the UWI Global Campus opened doors to life learning and growth across the Caribbean. You heard the panelists state, no matter where you are in the Caribbean or the world, they were able to access quality education. We hope that this discussion inspired you to start your own journey. And once again, we thank you for joining. Until next time, I'm Sharice Glasgow. Bye.
Bye.
All right, great guys. That's it. Well